SEAL Team 18, arriving. Parade the colors.
Color guard. Attention. Carry. Colors. Forward. March. Mark time. March. Color guard. Hold. Left. Face. Reset. Arms.
Ladies and gentlemen, our national anthem. Color guard, retire the colors.
Shoulder. Arms. Ready. 2. Right. Face. Forward. March.
Mr. Howard Schaefer will now deliver the invocation.
Let us pray. Eternal Father, whose strength is always with us, who saves us and stands watch over us, we gather to thank you for a life of service. We are here to honor that life. And through this, we honor all those lives who have shown the greatest love by laying down their life for others. The lives of those who are no longer with us, the lives who are still serving, the lives who have completed uniform service and are serving in other ways. We thank you for your guidance in all our perils, past and those to come. In your holy name we pray. Amen.
Will the guests please be seated? Bosun, close to side boys.
Aye, aye, ma'am. Side boys. Right or left. Face. Hold.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are here to honor Master Chief Newman for 28 long years of faithful service to our nation. Please welcome Commander Zachary Ruthin, Commanding Officer, SEAL Team 18.
Good afternoon, everyone. Admiral Brackey, Commodore Layton, Commodore Nelson, COs and CMCs, SEAL Team 18, distinguished visitors and guests, thank you for being here this afternoon. I'm certainly honored to offer brief remarks to bid farewell to a fellow SEAL and to recognize and honor his 28 years of service to our nation and our Navy. First, I want to take a minute to thank all those who have helped in kicking off this ceremony today and the Monster Mash we had this morning. Side boys, ushers, the Heritage Center for letting us be here. Particularly want to recognize Rosa, our Master of Ceremonies here, and then Rose and Ghana, who ran the Monster Mash this morning. Awesome event. Also the Navy Band. Please, just real quickly, give those guys a round of applause. I'd like to start by recognizing some of the most important people in Bob's life. His daughters, Samantha, who unfortunately couldn't make it here, Gabrielle, and son GP. Working so closely with Bob, I've learned a lot about his family and the way he speaks of you kids. He's a mighty proud father, as he should be. We want you to know that we understand that you have sacrificed a lot of time with your dad, and that we appreciate that sacrifice. We're so happy that you are here today. You can stand proud with this audience, this nation, and our Navy as we recognize your dad. And I know it's killing Samantha that she couldn't be here today. You know, that little hurricane ruined all the travel, so unfortunately she couldn't make it, but she absolutely would be here otherwise. Bob's mother, Irene, sister Kristen, and brother-in-law Matt are also in attendance today. I know how tremendously proud you are of your son and brother. You have every right to be. You instilled the basic values that have made him a wonderful credit to the Navy and the teams. Thank you very much for sending us your son. To the Newman family, no career military SEAL can effectively do the things they do without the support of their family behind them. To all of you, I deeply appreciate your service and dedication to our Navy and to our country. Thank you. So, I like to start, with these retirements, kind of think about back when Bob joined the Navy and kind of see what was going on back then. So it was 1990, August of 1990, when Bob headed off to boot camp. Some of the historic events going on during that time. West and East Germany reunified. Operation Desert Shield began. The Hubble Space Telescope was placed into orbit. The 49ers defeated the Broncos in the Super Bowl, 55-10. Who knows who the quarterbacks were? Montana and Elway, unfortunately. Yeah. Biggest lopsided victory, I think, in Super Bowl history. Driving Miss Daisy won the Oscar that year. And I looked up the greatest music single of the year, and I'm thinking post-'80s it's going to be pretty spectacular. Hold On by Wilson Phillips was the top-selling music single. For you youngsters who don't know what that is, Google that. And I think I was starting to understand why Bob is the way he is. So you have Bob's bio in front of you, but I want to highlight some of the extraordinary contributions over his 28 years in the Navy. As you see, he first started out at SDD Team 1, where ordinarily you stayed for some time. Back then, SDD was not considered as lucrative of a place to go as it is now. Fortunately for Bob, a senior leader recognized his talents and drive and pulled him out of there early to bring him over to SEAL Team 2. Bob has pretty much been at SEAL Team 2 for most of his career. He has 10 deployments under his belt, to include Bosnia, Kosovo, Liberia, Iraq 2 times, Afghanistan 2 times, to name the highlights. Before the wars in Iraq and Afghanistan, Bosnia and Kosovo were the places to be. It was the only place where we were doing anything operational, and that's where Bob cut his teeth. He then went on to have successful deployments to Afghanistan and Iraq. While he was in Iraq, it was the heyday of our SEAL operations, where platoons were going out the door 5 to 6 nights a week, hitting 1 to 2 targets a night. It was an extremely, extremely busy time and a very dangerous time to be in Iraq. For those of you who don't know it, Bob is a recipient of the Purple Heart. In Iraq, he was wounded. He took a round through the arm that also grazed his chest and sent shrapnel into other parts of his body. Although injured and with a destroyed M4 and radio, Bob stayed in the fight while they continued to conduct operations until higher-ups finally demanded he be medevaced. He was extracted via helicopter where likely he was placed in even more danger when the helicopter he was on began to suffer engine failure. When they landed, he recalls seeing this huge response. Now, he's the only guy being medevaced, right? Fire trucks, ambulances, and the such. He couldn't believe they were all coming for him. They ended up driving right past him, headed to the helicopter, which at that time now was on fire. He walked himself into the field hospital where he was treated. Bob was eventually sent home to recover. During that recovery process, he was in awe of the support that he was receiving and the other SEALs who were injured far worse than he. A passion and drive began to form in him to really give back to his fellow veterans, and he yearned to be a part of that. Bob went on to recover, and though challenging, he fought to return to his platoon and the war. Though the Commodore at the time didn't want to let him go, he eventually was successful. He completed that deployment with his platoon. That really is a testament to who Bob is. His character, his insatiable drive to be there with his teammates and to serve honorably. Eventually, Bob was selected for the highest honor, and he was the Command Master Chief of SEAL Team 2, where he performed admirably. Another significant contribution Bob brought to the teams was his time at TRADEC. He was an instructor for the breacher course, a very lucrative course that all team guys want to go to. You learn all the ins and outs of breaching techniques and the use of explosives. Bob helped completely revamp that training pipeline and was the co-author of the NSW Breacher and NSW Explosive manuals that are still used to this day. Rightly so, he came out of TRADEC as a newly minted chief before returning to SEAL Team 2. I know I speak for all of us here that we can say we are so privileged to have crossed paths with Bob. Unfortunately, I've only known Bob in his last few years as Master Chief here at SEAL Team 18. He is one of the most unique individuals who is wired for constant action and activity. He brought that amazing energy to SEAL Team 18 and is absolutely leaving it in a better place than when he came in. I couldn't have asked for a better Master Chief as I began my first job in command. He has been an invaluable advisor, mentor, confidant, and friend during our time together here at SEAL Team 18. I thank you for your sage advice and leadership. Now, I can't let Bob go without, roasting him a little bit, so I'm going to give you two little snippets before I turn it over. We all know Bob is an enthusiastic road biker. He led the charge to set up a bike studio that is now part of the USO Veterans Outreach Program. He routinely is either riding his bike around Virginia Beach or he's in the studio putting folks through the ringer. This gives Bob the opportunity to eat anything with how many calories he burns day in and day out. He always likes to say he's on a diet, but about the only thing I see him stringent on is his vegetarian mantra. I routinely see him shoving an entire donut in his mouth, or helping himself to 3 servings of cake or pie. All our trips we go on, and just this week he came into my office eating random just sugar packs. So, I'm not sure what diet he is on, but I just like to call it the Bob diet. He's always telling me he's on a diet, though. As I mentioned before, Bob's wired a little differently. He literally has no off switch. Just a little while ago, he was pushing himself so hard that his lung tore away from the lining of his rib cage, causing him to get a tension pneumothorax. I mean, they had to scar his rib cage and reattach his lung. It's ridiculous. He has a number of ailments, but he refuses to let them hold him back. He's either first or at the front of the pack during all our PTs, and it's pretty impressive for a man of his age. I can't imagine what he was like when he was younger. I just can't even fathom. And I now understand why Bob needs yoga and meditation and all those things. And I'm so glad that he has been doing that my entire time here at SEAL Team 18. So what's in store for Bob as he transitions out of the Navy? Something that is near and dear to his heart, that was kind of set in place when he got injured back in the day. His passion to help veterans, particularly with the challenges our wounded vets face day in and day out, and those struggling with mental health issues. He is the de facto counselor I sought out for advice and who I would send anyone to if they were having problems. He routinely is volunteering, if not leading events to help with veteran outreach, and I know whatever he dives into, he will be successful. Through his leadership and dedication, he led the charge to stand up the USO's outdoor adventure team and Project Nosos, gaining grants to create that great bike studio many of you in the audience enjoy to this day. I have no doubt that he will continue to excel and will have a second rewarding career. He looks also to dive into consulting. Bob has helped so many people transition into civilian life, and now it's your turn. Congratulations on your 28 years of exemplary service to the Navy and to the teams. I'm glad to have served with you, and I look forward to seeing how you succeed in your future endeavors. Fair winds and following seas.
Please welcome Captain Retired Matt Stevens.
Raise this up a little bit. Good afternoon, everybody. For the record, I just want to say I thought the Monster Mash was tomorrow morning. Otherwise, I probably would have won it. Welcome, everybody. Say again.
A woman won.
Welcome to this great celebration of Bob's 28-year career and celebration of that, and look forward to his retirement. Welcome to this great building. If you haven't had a chance, look around. It's really, really awesome, and it's a beautiful day, so what could be better? I'm not going to reiterate all the names of Bob's family, but welcome. I know you struggled through some tough weather to get here. Unfortunately, Samantha couldn't get here, but as Bob said last night, life goes on and it's all good. Also, want to mention Aunt Stephanie and Uncle John, who I sat next to last night at dinner, gave me some really good insights on the man that Bob is and why he may have become a SEAL. More of that later. But at dinner last night, I had the pleasure of meeting many of you and got a greater understanding of really the fabric behind the character of Bob Newman, and it's really tremendous to see, and it's easy to see why Bob's so successful because of the family. Most importantly, to the kids, Gabby and GP, this ceremony is really about you as much as it is about your dad. So I'd like to recognize your contributions and sacrifices over the years during the long deployments, the long separations, and the craziness that goes along with having your dad be a SEAL. So how about a round of applause for this amazing family? It's truly a privilege and an honor for me to speak today. I'm humbled to be here in the presence of so many great Americans, leaders, warriors, professionals, family, and friends. I've known Bob for just over 20 years, but I've known of Bob for much longer than that. His incredible reputation preceded him, and for those in the audience that don't know, in our tight-knit SEAL community, we trade in the currency of reputation. If you have a bad one, it's really tough to recover. If you have a good one, you can move along fairly well, and you're sought after. Reputation is everything, and Bob's reputation has been and is impeccable. All right, so where to start with Bob? I'm not going to read his bio either, because you can do that and see what his experience is wide and diverse. And in fact, Commander Ruthven pretty much destroyed the rest of my speech, so I'm going to win the rest of it. But it doesn't tell you the underlying story of who the man is, what makes him tick, how he's viewed, or any of that. So I'll try to fill in a few of the blanks from my perspective. As the saying goes, he's done it all. He's skydived from incredible heights. He's dove to incredible depths with the denizens of the deep. He's planned church socials, started bar fights, he's been in combat, planned countless exercises. Bob's even fit himself into a kit bag. He's rode on ships, submarines, boats, jet skis, airplanes, helicopters. He's driven 2x, 4x6s and big trucks that go pss, 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 as you step on the brakes. It's an inside joke. Obviously not very funny. He's tamed lions, and the list goes on. But there's a whole lot more. You know, he really is the master of undersea operations, spending time locking out of submarines, which is incredibly dangerous work. We talked about his time at SEAL Team 2. He did everything at SEAL Team 2 from an operator to being the Command Master Chief. He's an expert trainer, well-educated, well-written, and well-read. In fact, he wrote our doctrine, as Zach said, for breaching, which is still in use today, and that was, what, a decade or two ago? Yeah. He's articulate, as most of you know. If you don't, you'll soon find out. And he's a critical thinker and a problem solver. In fact, I work for a tech company now. I wanted to get into an innovative tech company where they solve problems. It's out of Boston, and I can tell you that the MIT engineers and experts from robotics have nothing on Bob Newman when it comes to innovation. Of course, I asked around a bit as I was preparing for this of colleagues, guys that I've worked with, for, and around Bob. What comes to mind when they think of Bob Newman? And a few themes became extremely clear. It reinforced what I already knew, but here they are. Number one, he's a great warrior. Extremely competent and capable. Better than anyone else at the hard skills of shooting, moving, and communicating. Fierce on the battlefield, despite being left-handed. And the guy you would go to war with anytime, which is perhaps the highest compliment we and the teams can say of somebody else. Number two, he's a great mentor. He always cared for his men, still does, took every opportunity to coach and mentor, even in high-tempo combat deployments where they're going out the door every day. He could always weave in a lesson for a younger person to teach them to take his place, to be better than he is. And number three, servant leadership. Always putting the well-being of his men above himself, always leading by example. In fact, when Bob was shot on that operation in Iraq, he didn't want his family notified because he didn't want his family to worry about him. He didn't want to go to Germany to get surgery or come home because he wanted to get back to his platoon. Ultimately, he did. As you can see, Bob is truly one of the uncommon breed who always puts the mission first. He's the guy who's never shown the slightest inclination for self-promotion or cared what others thought of him. And SOF, our professional standard, is that of a quiet professional. Many say it, many try it. Bob lived it and still lives it every day. Now, I first got to know Bob in earnest when I became the commanding officer of SEAL Team 2, and he was a newly minted troop chief. I knew pretty early on that he was going to be a unique character. So shortly after taking command, I really wanted to get to know all of our leaders, kind of try to collectively form a philosophy that would guide us for the rest of our time together at SEAL Team 2. So we conducted what's called an offsite. We took everybody out of this environment and went up to West Virginia for a couple days of bonding, team building, and stuff like that. So we did ATVing, we did rafting, and we had a couple beers. It was pretty cool. We stayed in a really nice house, about 12 guys, middle-aged men staying in a house, had a really nice hot tub there. And on the first night, I wanted to break the ice, so I led by example. grabbed a beer, jumped into the hot tub, assuming everybody would follow. They were obviously intimidated by my physique, no shirt on at the time, but Bob was the first guy to grab a beer and jump in the hot tub with me as the second ingredient in the man soup hot tub. So. Now I assigned Bob and Steve, who you'll meet in a minute, the hardest mission of any troop at SEAL Team 2. To form their troop, which had just come off a pretty heavy combat deployment, to deploy to Europe and Africa to conduct security force assistance missions, i.e. training our partner nations for the most part. Now this is kind of in the midst of heavy combat operations all over, and everyone wanted to go to Iraq or Afghanistan. So the challenge was to keep his men motivated and focused on the mission so that they could deploy and do it and not get distracted by wanting to do something else. I knew it would take great leadership, but Bob did it masterfully. Another thing that struck me about Bob was his ability to put community and team above himself or his own small unit. He always thought of the big picture first and never lobbied to put his own troop or himself in a position where it didn't make sense for the larger mission, which is never easy to do, especially when the commander issues some crazy guidance and doesn't always have the support. Bob was on point. While on his deployment to EUCOM on this particular time, he did some amazing things. First, when he got indications that the country of Lithuania was going to deploy their soft forces to Afghanistan, Bob was dispatched to the U.S. Embassy in Lithuania for a series of briefings where he went and presented the option of having his element advise and assist the Lithuanian special operations guys in combat. So shortly after Bob got back, the commander of the Special Operations Command Europe, who's a 2-star, got a personal letter from the ambassador requesting by name SEAL Team 2 troop to lead the Lithuanians. So at the end of the day, he found a way to get his guys into the fight, and it's pretty amazing. Also, while we were on deployment, I was in Baghdad, they were in Europe, unless they were in Afghanistan, but we had a VTC, a video teleconference about every 2 weeks with the guys who weren't with us, just to kind of check in. And at some point during that, I forget what it was, but Bob and Steve came on the screen looking like pale, gaunt shells of themselves. And I asked what was going on, and I think Bob had convinced Steve, when they found out otherwise, to conduct a 2-week cleanse where they drank nothing but water. I think it was a lemon juice, water, cayenne pepper cleanse. And I think that was the beginning of the newer, leaner, fitter Bob that we all know today. Because occasionally I think he ate meat before that, but pretty cool. After our time together at SEAL Team 2, Bob continued to serve, lead, and mentor others. You all know about his great work with the USO, the Outboard Adventure Team, and all that, helping the active duty service members and veterans get healthier and happier through their transitions and whatnot. What you probably didn't know is that Bob was doing this stuff way before that anyways. On one occasion, he took his personal time away from his family to go to the Army-Navy game in Philadelphia, not to partake in the tailgaters and hoot and holler at the game, but to escort, care for, and tend to severely wounded and disabled guys who've been injured in combat. So while everybody else was at the game, Bob was there in uniform, really taking care of everybody else so that they could have a couple hours of normalcy and a pretty arduous recovery. I guess I can sum it up like this. You know, whether you were his subordinate, peer, superior by rank, or just being around Bob, you know, he causes you to want to be a better person, a better operator, or a better leader. I was the CEO of SEAL Team 2, and I wanted to be better because I didn't want to disappoint Bob Newman, and that's the sign of a true leader and a great person. All of these things speak to the character of the man who is Bob Newman. And so, Bob, it's been my absolute honor and privilege to serve alongside you. I learned immensely from you, and I hope to continue to do so in the future. I would go to war with you any day, both in the pure sense of the phrase, in a nonprofit or in business sense. So on behalf of our great country, the U.S. Navy, Naval Special Warfare, and all your teammates, past and present, let me say, the traditional, fair winds and following seas, thank you for your service and everything you've done in the service of our country. I know you'll crush it in whatever endeavors you tackle. God bless you, God bless your family, God bless the United States of America. Thank you.
Please welcome Commander Retired Stephen Porter.
First thing I want to do is thank my friend Bob for the run, swim, run monster mash this morning, which for someone who's been out for a little while was a reintroduction to the sensations and the sounds and the feelings of the SEAL team life. As I was in the water, having waves splash over me, getting pounded by the wind chop, running on the beach, feeling the sand between my toes again, and having the sand blow in my mouth. And then running back with wet dolphin shorts that I failed to cut the lining out of, experiencing a horrific chafing in my legs, which I view as one of the quintessential UDT SEAL sensations that I've missed over the past few years. Something that connects us back to the frogmen and the days on the Scullies on Normandy Beach. So thank you, Bob. Now, I had a lot of family requests come in, especially, I would say, pour in within the last 24 to 48 hours of how to handle this experience. And they were pretty conflicting, to be honest. I had Bob's incredible sister, Kirsten, really want me to show all of you a side of Bob that maybe you're not familiar with. And then I had some of your children ask to go light on you. And then I had you, I think most of all, are probably terrified that I was going to show up inappropriately dressed for the occasion. So I do want to get that out of the way. So you're lucky because we're here in Virginia Beach. If you want to be inappropriately dressed, they have a store called Sensations. And if you're visiting the area, I highly recommend visiting it, where they have hats like this, Bob. I tried to get the one with the seagull crap on it, but and for us, Bob was always one step ahead of me in terms of he was worried about if I would present myself properly on the occasion. So I wanted to be here for you when it really mattered. In fact, I'm going to give this to you. I'll keep it over here. So a lot of family requests were to quote-unquote roast Bob, and I started thinking a lot about where does that concept come from? And why are we so hard on each other in this community? Why is this roasting associated with closeness? And I do notice that in the only other community I've seen out there that is harsh on each other as us is the police. And it has something to do with laughing at danger, I believe. And it has something to do with affection hidden behind the roasting. So we should explore that a little bit. So I want to present to the group, in case you haven't seen it, something that's one of the most incredible objects ever created by an artist. And it is a caricature Bob's nose, which was sculpted by his amazing daughter and artist, Samantha, who I'm really sorry is not here. But with her not being here and being at the UDT Seal Heritage Museum, I think the appropriate thing would be to auction it off for charity right now in this venue. So, $75. No, we won't do it. I did talk to Samantha about that, and she was very nervous that I was actually going to auction off her nose. So let's just talk a little bit about, I'm going to recap a little bit. So your early years, which we learned a lot about from the family. Two things that I learned that are most important to help shape Bob is you were always the one that was caught when you were a kid between you and your sister, and that your sister pretty much tortured you for most of your childhood. And some of the torture involved sweets and chocolate, which is an explanation for some of your eating habits that exist today. Your dad was a veteran who served, and you answered the call to serve. And where our paths first met was in Bud's when I showed up. And I want to correct Zach. The key historical moment when we were at the Bud's compound was the release of Nirvana's "Smells Like Teen Spirit" single, which was played over and over again, countlessly in the compound. But you were a green shirt, you were a rollback. And so from the first time I met you, you were several steps ahead. And for those of you who don't understand, a green shirt is a SEAL trainee who's already been through Hell Week. And then Bob was injured and was waiting to class back up. So from the first time that we met, you were someone that I looked up to, whether you realize that or not. Another cool thing is that Bob and I, we talk about swim buddies in the teams. But Bob and I, we really were swim buddies. We did pretty much almost every swim at Bud's together, to include a 5.5 nautical mile ocean swim, which is a fun experience. And it's incredible to me that this word that gets thrown around, swim buddy, is something that you can apply to us metaphorically, but it really is true in this case. You really were my swim buddy, as you are today. Another thing that's interesting about that 5.5 nautical mile ocean swim is that experiments were done on us where we had to insert anal temperature probes before and after the swim in order to measure our body core temperature. And so we share that as well. True story.
The fishing that everybody was
It is for science. So we finished training, and we did something that you're actually not supposed to do once you're actually in the military. We volunteered for something. We were given a special assignment, and that special assignment was our first orders, which was to DDS detachment in Hawaii, which involves quite a bit of soul searching. And I've got, there's some original members, some folks that went to Buzz with us up here, Jay Richardson, that were involved in this. Our first unit was not exactly what we had in mind when we had SEAL Team in mind. When we got there, we found ourselves chipping paint on the dry dock shelter. And to kind of date how much some things have changed in the SEAL teams, I lived in a 5-man barrack, open barrack with Bob for most of the first year that we were together. And I remember we cleaned all the toilets at the team every Friday. And so for some of the younger team guy communities out there, you have to understand how much things have changed and how far the community has come in the way that we've developed. And he's been here for all of that. We learned about tough love on that deployment because people gave us a pretty hard time about the position we were in. And I believe my youth and experience, it turned into rage, but you were able to channel that into something positive and make your way to SEAL Team 2 and become become an operator there. So that's where Bob went, to SEAL Team 2. And in the community, SEAL Team 2, this really truly is SEAL Team 2 of old, the one that you were in. Swims every Tuesday, all through the year, haircuts, UCOM, and it's here that I believe, especially the UCOM influence, that started to really shape Bob's fashion sense. Which it wasn't formed in the beginning. It was a result of the development of the Spears program, which was special layering, special clothing for special operations, combined with his UCOM experience, and then the experience of his sister torturing him when he was growing up, resulted in a fashion sense for Bob that I can only describe as a combination between the Spears program, Ironman triathlons, the LO Bean catalog, and the sprockets from Saturday Night Live. Kind of a Metro Euro thing. And when I was thinking about this, I came up with a word association game to describe anything that Bob is wearing at any given moment, or maybe a piece of cool gear that he has in his hand. And you can take a few adjectives and nouns, I wrote them down, and you can put them together in different combinations. So the key one is performance, micro, hydro, breathable, membrane, nylon, and Gore-Tex. And so Bob, could come in wearing a performance micro hydro fleece pant. That would be a typical thing that he'd be wearing during the day. Or I used to call his pants adventure pants. And if you know what adventure pants are, they're the ones with zippers so you can take them off. A few, key rings, all kinds of things for your gadgets. Which I really think the development was, they had you in mind when they were working on the adventure pants. But it led Bob to one of his most famous lines in our friendship, was that any pants that he puts on are adventure pants. So Bob was in this environment, and I was not with him at this time. I was off going to school, and what happened was he became involved in the Balkans. He led the breacher course. He did all the things that you heard about from these other folks, but he really became the kind of team guy, the kind of operator, and the kind of leader that we dreamed about and we aspired when we were younger. So he was actually achieving that dream, and by the time I came around to see him again, he had changed so much, and it's incredible that what you became during those years. And the story of our friendship is one where we were very close, and this is very common for a lot of friendships in the teams. You don't see someone for 11 years, 12 years, maybe you don't even talk to them. And then you pick right up where you left off. And that's what we did. And you developed a style, and in particular, a way of caring about your teammates that you were leading that was incredible. And so what happened was we had the chance to become reunited. And it was, I want to thank Captain Stevens for helping make that happen as well. So we became folks that, we were enlisted together, and then years later, we got the chance to lead a SEAL troop at SEAL Team 2 together, full cycle and deploy under an incredible CO. And if there's anyone out there who's a younger officer, a younger enlisted guy in the SEALs that doesn't think it's worth sticking around just for the chance that that might happen to you, talk to them about it. Because it's the coolest, funnest, most incredible thing that you could ever hope for yourself, for your children, for your teammates. It truly is. And so, also, if you're, it's just like going through a regular platoon cycle, except you get your own rental car. So we work together, and typically how that would go is we set up a lot of training. I would come up with crazy ideas, and then Bob would run all over the place, all over the battlefield, whether it was on cross-country skis or a bike or a Humvee or a Jeep, trying to make these things happen, and sometimes telling me that the ideas were stupid and we shouldn't do them. But we really made a lot out of a 2-year period, and tried to make the experience as incredible as possible for every single individual. During that time, I got the chance to see what is the essence of Bob's leadership style, and something that I draw off of now that I'm a coach. And the only way I can explain it to you is an infinite series of incredibly small moments between him and a single person that he needs to talk to. And it would typically go like this. He would find a moment to pull a platoon member, a SEAL aside, or a support technician, and connect with them one-on-one in what seemed like a nanosecond. He was able to deliver to them feedback on how they were doing and inspire them to do it better. And it's hard for me to describe, but when you've observed it, it's the essence of your leadership. And there's really now hundreds of young SEALs and sailors that are all throughout the Navy and the teams that experience that firsthand. And it has a very profound and incredible difference that it's played in our community. And it's very hard for me to describe it, but this is how he does it. He tunes in one-on-one, he tunes out all the noise, and he inspires that person, saying, hey, I saw how you did in the house today. I'm expecting a little bit more from you. The next day, the person takes off. That night, they're working on their gear. They felt the impact of that, and I observed it firsthand. I was lucky to do that. So we did this cycle together, which basically includes, we're on the road, countless trips, deployment. We had dinner together about 8,000 times, I think. And Bob had his fashions, and the guys in the platoon started calling us, affectionately, I think, the Bobs. The Bobs. So they kind of thought we were a cute couple. So it had all these elements. We had dinner together. You have your weird fashion sense. The whole thing seemed kind of inappropriate. It was basically like a gay marriage, except we weren't really actually together. And the fact that they call us the Bobs, I'm still kind of hurt from that, because I was hoping to be called Steve. And yes, it's true, we did the cleanse diet together, which involved ritually drinking salt water and having a ceremonial diarrhea together, basically. So if that's not crazy friendship, then I'm not sure what else to do. And it is true that Bob manipulated the foreign government and the ambassador and co-opting and helping get us forward deployed. But what that did was put us forward for the second half of that deployment, where we worked on incredibly important assignments in the combat zone, like trying to get porta potties for the Afghan National Police compound and other things. And on this deployment, we weren't in any heavy combat, but we were in danger. And I do want to discuss that because many people here have experienced it, but many people haven't, and maybe you want to hear about it. Is when you're riding in a helicopter in Afghanistan, or you're driving in a Toyota pickup truck on the streets of Kabul, and you get scared. But the thing that provides the strength in our community is you look over and Bob's there. And it seems trivial, but it provides the strength in battle that makes our community tick and makes us able to excel in that environment. And it comes from the affection between one another. And I do think a lot. I remember Captain Van Hoosier, you speaking after Extortion 1-7, and you spoke about them looking at each other before the helicopter went down. And I think about those moments that our teammates had. And I take comfort that they looked around at each other and they said, you know, Bob's there. It's okay. We're going down, but it's okay. And I want you to think about that. And I want you to know that the nose, it represents, it's funny, but his daughter made it for him. And it represents, it's humorous, but it represents love. And that's a profound thing. And that is truly incredible, and you're a very lucky man. God bless you, Bob.
Trying to be quiet, it gets louder. Sorry. Please welcome Elizabeth Carmel, speaking on behalf of Wendy Finer.
Wow. I'm a little bit out of my element here, but you have to give me a pass because I'm a civilian. Until yesterday, I had never been on a base before. And I've learned more about Robert, to me he's Robert, in the last hour than I've known since I've known him for 20 years through my friendship with the entire Newman family, through my friendship with his sister, Kirsten. I am really humbled and honored that you asked me to fill in for Wendy. Those who know me, which are very few of you in this room, know that I'm almost never speechless. But after listening to those three men, I am almost speechless. So you have to forgive me while I use my notes. It really is a pleasure for me to be here today. As I said, I've known Robert and his family for nearly 20 years. And I've always been thankful for his service and in awe of what he and all of you do for our country. But until yesterday, I never really understood it. But after the rehearsal yesterday, Robert took Kirsten and Stephanie and I on a tour, and I got to see a glimpse of the inner workings of what you all do here. And I realized that you're really a family. And a few days ago, Robert said to me that this was really bittersweet for him, his retirement, even though he's excited about moving forward and with a whole new chapter in his life. And I really got that. I mean, this is like saying goodbye to your family. And I mean, it pulled at my heart every time you took us to another stop. And your connection and your relationship with everybody here is just so genuine, and that's really special to see. So for me, this seems like the hardest job and the most stressful job there is out there. And the thing that's been so amazing and that I've always admired about Robert is that he has an undying positive attitude. He's patient. He has such a circumspect nature. And one of the things about Robert and Bob, maybe Bob, as you all know him, is he can be in a room with 300 people, and when he's talking to you, it's just you and Robert in the room. And very few people have that capability or that, you know, I mean, it's really a special trait. And so you're going to do so well in your next career as you help people with motivation and with leadership. So I just want to say two things. I never really understood why Robert chose this for his life, so I asked him yesterday as we were taking the tour, and he told me, well, you know, when I was 17 and I joined, I really did it for selfish reasons. You know, I wanted to make my parents proud and other reasons that you can all imagine. But very soon after I joined, I realized that it wasn't about me, It was really about me helping make the team perform at their highest level. And that's really, you know, I know Robert socially as a friend, and that's really the way he is and the way that he's always presented himself and the way he conducts himself, even at dinner and over drinks and having fun and laughing. And so I know he is going to be so amazing in his new career. And I just have to say, yesterday when I went into his office, besides seeing the nose, I saw lots of other things. And on his whiteboard was something that really spoke to me. And I had to turn in my phone, so I couldn't take a snapshot of the whiteboard, which I normally do. So I took his business card and I wrote it on the back. And I had no idea I was going to be speaking today. But to me, this sums up Robert. The 7 E's to enhancing potential: engage, educate, equip, encourage, empower, energize, and elevate. And I feel like you've done that to your family. Your children are certainly absolutely that way. They embody that. And I really feel like the 7 E's should be the 7 E's that Robert lives every day. So that's from me. And now, if you can just imagine that I'm Wendy Feinerman, I'm going to read the remarks that she wrote and sent this morning. Good morning. To all the active and retired military here today, I want to thank you for your service. In addition to these veterans gathered amongst us are Bob's family and friends. And I would like to say to each one of you, thank you for making it possible for Bob to serve. Samantha, in absence, sadly, Gabby and Jeepy, you have made your father so proud, and to Bob's family, you made an extraordinary commitment in helping him at all times and often on very short notice, especially his mother, who came to take care of the children many, many times. I had the good fortune of meeting Bob and members of Team 2 on a trip to Las Vegas. But don't worry, there was never any "what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas." Bob and his group were encouraged to join our annual Gary Sinise Foundation Veterans Day 5-day trip to Las Vegas. 100 Walter Reed patients with their guardians on a 4-day Las Vegas extravaganza. He had the SEAL team, and I had the patients. He commanded authority, and I commanded the drink vouchers. I had the privilege of meeting many exceptional people in my life, but Bob is the only person who I have met who makes you want to be the best version of yourself by just being in his presence. I know each of you has also received this gift from Bob. One of the first things Bob told me when we first met was, be careful, perception is reality. Given that Hollywood, for those who don't know, Wendy is a Hollywood producer of many movies, and you can read her bio in the program. Given that Hollywood is all perceptions, that was a hard thing for me to wrap my mind around. I live in 2 cities where perception is an art form, and that it's normal to create a vision that is opposite of who you really are. And trust me, I've tried this numerous times on the golf course, and it really doesn't work. However, it does work with all the compression athletic gear. That must be the micro hydro vortex stuff. He has outfitted me in, and I definitely look like a better athlete. Just imagine it. He has taught me to be real about perception, and with his strong eyes, he perceives each one of us in our best. He has extraordinary vision to only see what one can be capable of, even beyond our own expectations. I admire Bob as I watch him guide, lead by example as an amazing role model of strength, honesty, selflessness with his children. Being not only their father, but a friend, and providing them a relationship of trust, confidence, and security. Bob, you saw Samantha at Dartmouth. You see Gabby as the next master baker or cardiac surgeon, and GP, the next Olympian. You see my own kids as calm, cool, and well-behaved, and in particular, Drew as a patriotic entrepreneur. I would like all of us to think what that means for each of us. To take Bob's wise words that he borrowed from Oscar Wilde and retire your perceptions and embrace and celebrate the best of who we really are and can be in reality. Perceptions are reality. That is the gift he has given all of us, and living our lives the way we would want them to be perceived, just as he does every day. That is the reality of Robert New. He is a father, son, brother, nephew, cousin, leader, mentor, educator, comrade, enthusiast, student, swimmer, cyclist, teammate, athlete, chef, metro dude. I think she meant metrosexual, right? Pacifist, warrior,
Need a style code.
and a hero. Bob, I know you don't like being called a hero. You are a hero to this audience and to this country. Henry Kissinger recently said, "Heroes inspire us by the matter-of-factness of their sacrifice and the elevation of the root vision." Bob, thank you for being my best hero friend. Wendy.
Please welcome again Commanding Officer, SEAL Team 18, Commander Ruthven. Will the guests please rise? Irene, Kirsten, Gabrielle, and GP, would you please join Commander Ruthven on stage? Ladies and gentlemen, today we honor the service of Master Chief Newman. We also honor the service of his family, whose own sacrifices have made Bob's service possible. On behalf of the United States Navy, Commander Ruthven would like to present to Gabrielle, Samantha, and GP letters of appreciation, and also Irene and Kirsten. By the authority vested in me, it is my pleasure to express the grateful appreciation of the United States Navy to you for enduring the frequent and long separation from your loved one as he served his country. These months, indeed years, that he spent away from you constitute a clear and noble demonstration of his love for you and his family. You see, he left you in order to ensure that you inherited a safer world, a surer peace. To those who say a single man cannot make a difference, I say wrong. Your loved one did. He made our Navy stronger and kept our nation safe. With his service to the Navy now complete, he will be able to spend more time with you in the future. The United States Navy thanks both you and Master Chief Newman for enduring these separations, given this 12th day of October 2018. Signed, Zachary P. Ruthven, Commanding Officer, SEAL Team 18. You can now return to your seats if you like after the pictures. Master Chief Newman, please remain seated. Attention to award. The President of the United States takes pleasure in presenting the Meritorious Service Medal to Master Chief, Naval Special Warfare Operator, Robert F. Newman III, United States Navy, for service as set forth in the following citation. For outstanding meritorious service while serving as Command Master Chief for SEAL Team 18 from June 2016 to October 2018, Master Chief Newman performed his duties in an exemplary and highly professional manner. Through unrelenting determination, strict adherence to Navy core values, and personal ownership, he ensured the successful execution of the command's mission while simultaneously developing innovative solutions to enhance its overall contribution to the Naval Special Warfare NSW operations. Master Chief Newman brought about significant and lasting operational and organizational readiness improvements to the NSW Reserve component through the development and institution of a Reserve 101 course for all Navy Chief Petty Officers, focusing on readiness, reporting standards, training requirements, and reserve policy. His CPO 365 program stands as a model program for other NSW Echelon Corps commands to develop mid-grade managers and department heads. His groundbreaking and thorough Career Development Board program provided positive feedback, career guidance, and mentorship to 527 active and reserve sailors across 9 NRUs, far exceeding all previous models. Master Chief Newman's exceptional professionalism, personal initiative, and loyal dedication to duty reflect great credit upon him and were keeping with the highest traditions of the United States Naval Service. For the President, C.P. Green, Rear Admiral, United States Navy, Commander, Naval Special Warfare Command. Will the guests please be seated? Commander Ruthven will now present Master Chief Newman with a certificate of retirement. Certificate of Retirement from the Armed Forces of the United States of America. To all who shall see these presents, greetings. This is to certify that Master Chief Robert F. Newman, United States Navy, having served faithfully and honorably, was retired from the United States Navy on the 12th day of October, 2018. Signed, Robert P. Burke, Vice Admiral, United States Navy, Chief of Naval Personnel. Chief Gatsby will now present a gift to Master Chief Newman from the officers and sailors of SEAL Team 18.
Bob, on behalf of the officers and chiefs of SEAL Team 18, I'd like to present you this token of our appreciation. We thank you for being a leader, a mentor, a teammate, a brother, and a friend.
And on behalf of my candy jar no longer being rated, I would like to present you with 1 week's worth of chocolate.
Maybe a week.
Ladies and gentlemen, Master Chief Newman.
everybody having a nice time? Cried a little, laughed a lot. Can you guys hear me? Admiral Brackey, Commodores, commanding officers, thank you very much, and distinguished guests as well. And of course, family and friends that have traveled far. I can't tell you how appreciative and blessed I am that you are here. Took the time out of your busy schedules and to some great expense to come here and share this time with myself and my family. It really means a lot to me. And especially those that suffered through the storm and made it here anyway. Thank you. I know it was not a joyful travel, and for those that weren't able to make it, unfortunately, we'll be celebrating in their stead. So you guys have heard a lot about me, so I'm not going to talk at all about me at all, really. I just really want to say thanks to a number of groups of people in particular that have had an impact on me, and things that kind of have guided a lot of what you've heard about today. So first to this nation, I feel so blessed and grateful to have won what I call the birthright lottery in the world, right? Because those of us that were born in America, boom, we just popped out, right? And we're here, and we've got all these benefits to us that many people around the world strive for and try and come here for. So I feel so blessed and grateful, and I just want to make sure I pass that on to those, and that's part of that positive mental attitude that people talk about. When I interact with people from other nations, I understand, or I seek to try and understand those things that they see in us that they want to achieve. So never lose sight of that. No matter how crazy things get in our nation, we do live in the greatest nation on the planet. And the better that we represent ourselves to our other nations, the better off we'll all be. And to the Navy, they've given me an appreciation of tradition and heritage. Those of us that have been in the Navy, brought up in the Navy, know that that's changed over the years. And I think that's a great example. An artist not friend of mine, but an artist that I've been inspired by, Henry Rollins, an ex-punk rocker who does a lot of spoken word. I had seen him a couple of years ago, and he made a remark about traditions are great until they're not. And the example he would give is that arranged marriages are traditions in some cultures, and they're not always great, right? So just because the tradition exists doesn't mean it's perfect. But since my 28 years in the Navy have existed, I've watched some of the traditions that were ridiculous, harmful, hazing, things of that nature have gone away. But we've aligned and kept some of the positive traditions that cause camaraderie, teamwork, leadership, honor, courage, commitment. Those things have stayed the past, and I really appreciate the Navy has helped morph those things and help us be the leaders that we are today. So also, just want to shout out another thanks to the Navy SEAL Foundation, the UDT SEAL Association for letting us use this space. Captain Stevens talked about it, Commander Ruthven talked about it a little bit. So this space was built on donor dollars for the foundation, and allows us a no-cost place that we can come and do ceremonies like this that otherwise people that are retiring are going to have to spend out of pocket. That's money that their families aren't going to be able to have. So it's just a great benefit for us to be able to share these things. I want to thank Blog C2 for supporting the Dog and Pony Show, or the display table that you've seen down there that's manned by some of our SEAL Team 18 special operators, as well as the Advanced Training Center at Little Creek that supported the Monster Mash this morning with those wave runners in that extreme surf condition. That was perfect. I couldn't have asked for a better day for that Monster Mash. Wind in the face, high swell out there, mashing us, pushing us into the beach, and just making it sort of an epic event that was really great. SEAL Team 18, thank you guys for bending over backwards to help my sister get this place set up so that we could enjoy the time here this afternoon, as well as the reception to follow. I really appreciate your support and taking your time out of the busy schedule that demanded on you guys to be able to do that. And then Rosa, my master of ceremonies, thank you, really. You're very tolerant of me. I know they say that I'm a very direct and astute communicator, but I think at times I'm not. And so, I have had to engage and re-engage, and Rosa does a phenomenal job of keeping me on my toes and putting them on my heels when necessary. So I really, really appreciate all the work you've done. And there's one other person And then so I kind of talked about the people that have come from out of town, but I'm just so fortunate and blessed to be people came from Seattle, California, Maine, New York, Pennsylvania, Florida, Georgia, New Hampshire, Boston, and Vermont. That just flatters me. really, I mean, that you guys would travel that distance to share this day with me, it really makes it really special. Okay, so then my real thanks, well, my additional thanks to my extended families, what I also refer to as my tribes. You know, I think love, as Steve was saying, to me is the most powerful word in our language. It's the most powerful emotion, it's the most powerful weapon. It is the thing that we can use to change the behaviors of those. Whether you agree with them or disagree with them, it's through love that I think and compassion that we can share. And that's why the people that I share love with, and I believe there's no end or limit to it, and that's why I feel so fortunate to have all these families involved with me, really make me feel blessed at the end of the day. You know, so first, of course, you know, my love and my comradeship within the SEAL teams in this community is just unbelievable. Teammates that I've made bonds with over these last 28 years are people that I would love and respect for the rest of my days. People who helped shape me, like Chuck Williams and Leif Patella and Tommy Valentine. All those things that they've taught me have helped me be the person that I am today. And I know that this community will always be here for me and my family, just as I will always be there for them. Even if they kind of look at me funny when I'm fat and overweight 20 years from now through union, somebody will at least recognize, like, oh yeah, he was probably a SEAL. Yeah, and so like that's one organization, right? And then so then I have another tribe that is my Outward Bound family, right? And my Nostos family with John Donovan. And thank you so much, you know, for your leadership and your trust and faith in me, that he and I have shared this vision of creating a mentorship program that creates a long-term relationship with people that are transitioning from the military. And I've just really enjoyed working with you, John, and shaping this thing with you. And I look forward to where we go in the future as well. And I definitely look at you as part of our family, as well as Eric and Kim and everyone else that can be here today. So thank you. My cycling family, right? My fitness enthusiasts out there and the people that I ride, you know, bikes on Lycra, fast, blocking traffic for all those folks that don't like us. But you guys are all part of my family. I love each and every one of you. And it's such a tight-knit family, just like any other team or SEAL team or whatever else. We look out for one another. When somebody's been hurt or injured or suffering, we're there for them as a community. And I just really appreciate having you all in my life. It's just really a powerful aspect that I like to share with you all. And you know, in particular, I see that Glenda's in the audience. You know, you and Jeff and Jason Lloyd and everyone that really contributes to this community with your love and affection and leading and helping people achieve their goals and setting up the junior program and all those other things. It's just a tremendous support to our community, and I really appreciate you guys' participation in that. My USO family, absolutely love you guys. And you know, I've got Paula and Jeff Hill. Jeff, thank you from the bottom of my heart. You know, he's another leader in the room that has seen something in me and trusted me with the vision that he and I had shared in creating something like the Outdoor Adventure Team so that we could have healthy activity for our active duty people to participate in. And he came to me with an idea, and he and I have been working on it for years to shape and build this thing. I'm just very proud to have an honor to be able to work with you. And again, thank you for your trust and leadership and allowing me to help execute our shared vision as well. It's meant a lot to me. And then to the Outdoor Adventure Team directly, you know, Johnny Io, who is our executive director, can't be here today. He's actually on his way or already arrived at the training camp, and he's heading off to the Invictus Games, where I hope that everyone will follow him and cheer him on where he goes for gold. Just an incredible leader. He's taken our vision for the Outdoor Adventure Team and has moved it milestones and milestones beyond what I've expected over this year, and I'm looking forward to seeing what we do there as well. And all our countless volunteers like Jessica and Joey and Jerry and everyone else that's here, I just really appreciate your support and comradeship. To our family support teams like Karen Vazina and our, you know, the Navy SEAL Foundation that participates to that. And then my extended real family support team that I have to say thank you to are my close comrades and friends. You know, John Richter, you know, thank you for being there for me through the tough times, helping look after my children when my mother isn't able to come down if it's a short notice thing. I love you, brother. I really could not have done a lot of stuff without you. You know, I've got Kathleen Howard, who I don't know, I see Matt. I think Kathleen was there to make it, but you guys have just been phenomenal, helping to take care of things when needed, always in the moment's call. I really appreciate what you guys have done for us. And then Colleen Hughes, I think, who also was not able to make it too, but just made some tremendous impacts to me and my family. All right, and to my family and important folks. So Diane, you've recently come into my life. You are strong, grounded, compassionate. I really appreciate having you be part of my life right now, and I look forward to where we go. You've come into my life at this transition, and I'm so appreciative because you are so grounded and focused that I trust I now have a compatriot that I can lean on, while things are going chaotic and crazy, helping you focus on that light that I put on the horizon for myself and keep me grounded. I really appreciate you. GP, what can I say about you, boy? I'm just so proud of the young man that you've grown into. You're courageous. You do lead by example. You're a quiet professional. You transition from gymnastics to jiu-jitsu. He is very quiet, but he is one of the most popular kids in our neighborhood and school. There's always somebody is looking for GP to come over and play or whatever. And then the parents are always just talking about how respectful he is and how well behaved and how he sort of calms down other children that may be excited about that. So GP, thank you and continue on that path. And I really look forward to seeing the man that you grow into. Gabby, my sweetheart, I can't even express how impressed and proud I am. So 3 children, obviously you've heard about Samantha a little bit, and I'll talk about her in a moment. But so her oldest sister has just left for college. Her best friend, her mentor, the person that she looks up to, her female role model in our house, left. And I was worried that this young girl was going to be destroyed and distraught and depressed. And I think she probably was a little of those things inside. But what I saw on the outside is a girl who achieved great things, got into the Health Science Academy, wakes up at 5:20 every morning. Sometimes she's out of the house before me, rides her bike to the bus stop, goes to school, 1 mile to the bus stop, catches the bus at like 6:20, gets home at 2:40, works on her homework, helps me prepare meals, take care of the house, the dogs, meets her brother at the bus stop because I cannot be there. You're just a tremendous, tremendous child. I couldn't have asked for anyone better than you. And leading about Samantha departing, I've watched you blossom into this role model for me, for GP, and for all of your friends. And you're just an incredible young woman. I cannot wait to see who you grow into as a future adult, which is like a couple decades. And then Samantha, she's tried to get here last night under much turmoil. And I finally, when I realized she hadn't slept at all, and the next plan was for her to get in a rental car, I was like, okay, I love you, but please just stay up there in New York and have whatever fun you can. She turns 19 on Sunday. But so the same as Gabby, Samantha had to step into a role that is unfortunate for a young girl, where she kind of had to be a parent in the household for a while. And, she's just an incredible young woman and achieved all of her goals. We have the Carriers here who are friends of ours visiting from Massachusetts now, but we grew up with them in New Hampshire at our little family summer place that we have up there. And, Pat and Lee Carrier took Samantha to Dartmouth campus when she was in 5th grade, which is like 15 minutes away from our camp. 5th grade, they buy her a Dartmouth t-shirt because Samantha's such a slow grower. She was wearing that thing today, right? But that made such an impact on her, and she connected with that campus in a way, and she always wanted to revisit it. And then while we were going through the whole college search thing, I kind of knew that Dartmouth had turned on to her, but she was looking elsewhere. And then we went back up to do the visit on the campus, and it was just a turn switch for her, and that was her #1 pick, and she was fortunate enough to get accepted to the #1 pick. And, so for a parent to see a child reach their highest goal and achievement at a young age like that is something that's made me immensely proud of her. Kirsten. I'm going to have to say all my thank yous first, and then there might be a little roasting. It's written in my notes here, roast a bit. So, but really, so my sister, patient, loving Karen, has set up 4 phenomenal events. What, Mother? No, the roasting comes later. It's later. She set up 4 phenomenal events, for this retirement ceremony. Dinner last night, this event here, help working with Rosa, setting up the reception, and then we have a small party at the Cavalier later this evening. I mean, you've heard me say this a few times, but for every minute I spent planning or talking or working with her on this thing, I know she was spending 1,000 minutes. And you know, when she said that she wanted to volunteer and help this thing, I really had no idea like how much work it was going to be. And from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much for pouring all of your effort, love, compassion into this thing, because I couldn't have done it without you. And I really appreciate it. So let's get a round of applause. So I don't know who dropped the message to Steve about the young introduction to hazing that I got from my sister. That's going to protect you from some of the roasting, so I don't have to revisit some of those things. But I'll just leave it at this. I'm the one that got caught on almost everything, as far as my mom knows. So, but my sister was way worse than me. I spent my childhood.
Still am.
Yeah, I spent my childhood majoring in, juvenile delinquency, which is what got me to be an enlisted man. You know, I'm the first enlisted man in my family in the lineage of officers, right? And there's no way I was going to school based on how I had gone. You kids should put your earmuffs on. But I was brought up in a household, right, where I was hearing all the stories from my father of like all of his bad behavior as a kid. So as a young man, that's what I tried to aspire to. Right? And then I had my sister like outdoing my dad. So I'm like, okay, here I go. And then I did. I got caught at about 99% of the stuff Mom for sure.
0.
So, but back to who the woman that she is and why I love and appreciate her so much, besides the fact that we're blood, is, Kirsten, you have one of the biggest hearts of anybody I've ever met. I mean, you care about everybody. Your work ethic. your work ethic. So you put all like this caring and compassion in there, and then you're like, well, where's she got room for anything else? I don't know. But she just like, when she gets determined on something, she's relentless until it's shaped and modeled the way she wants it to be. And the work ethic is just really, it's a model work ethic. I don't know how you organize all your stuff and how you get your days knocked out, but she's got me like maxed out to 10 just to keep up with her. She's an extrovert. I'm right on the edge of like extrovert and introvert. So if you sometimes feel it, if you get the sense that I don't want to be around you, it's not that I don't want to be around you. It's because I'm exhausted. And this introvert in particular sometimes needs to be recharged, so I have to unplug. But she is just like full gas all the time. It's just inspiring to watch. I wish I could be a little bit more like you, really, because I do get exhausted. And then lastly, and perhaps more importantly, your family focus. You and Mom together are like this matriarchal power that kind of keeps a lot of things connected in this family. And, I could not be doing the things that I'm doing with these kids without your help and leadership. So
I'm not watching you for 2 months.
you're amazing. You're amazing. All right, Mom. What can I say? I'm sorry. She didn't volunteer for this. I'm a 17-year-old kid, like was discussed. I had, my dad basically looked at me and was like, all right, we're going to the Navy recruiter. I don't really see any other future. So, but he had shared these stories with me when he was at jump school. So my father was an Army officer, and he went to jump school in 1965, right around the time when a lot of UDTs were transitioning into the SEAL teams. So he went through jump school with, I think he said, like 7 of these UDT guys that were transitioning to SEAL teams. And he'd tell these stories about these guys doing superhuman stuff, not fazed by the instructors at all. So I started doing all this research. And I was like, that's it, I'm in. Hardest training in the world, all the little cool guy stories from the Vietnam era books. I'm like, that's it, that's what I want to do. So here's this 17-year-old kid that's like got this plan in his mind, what he's going to execute. And I've got to convince this lovely lady that like it's a good idea for me to go in the Navy. Because I'm 17, so she has to sign the paperwork. I can't sign for myself. Yeah, I was scrawny. I think my boot camp recruiter, who like I still keep in touch with to this day, was like, there's no way this guy's going to make it through buzz. I think it was like 135 pounds. But 9 months later when I came back, I was about 165 pounds. It was all good. But Mom, what I'm getting at is you did not sign up for this. You know, the sleepless nights, you know, not knowing where I was, all those things that you took that burden on. You never really complained once, you know. I know after, I remember very vividly after Udo passed away, and I was home on leave. So my stepfather passed away a week and a half after 9/11. Yeah, 1 week after 9/11. So we're up at his funeral, and so I've got family members there. And my Aunt Dee looks at me, you know, I'm in my blues, and they're all concerned about me. And I'm not doing the math. They're already doing the math. They're like, okay, so at some point, this guy's going to go into harm's way. And my Aunt Dee looks at me, and she's like, why do you got to do this? You know, why do you got to do this to your family? And the only response I had was, if not me, then who? Corny, right? But that was it. That was really the way I looked at it. It was like our lifestyle was at an existential risk, or had an existential threat to it, you know, and we were living the aftermath of that day. And, you know, me being wounded and coming home and rehabbing and going forward, like, I didn't put that into my calculus at all, you know? So, I'm sorry. Thank you. And so what I'm getting at briefly is something that Pete Van Hoosier used to always say as well. He would refer to Leonidas, you know, and how he chose the 300 that he decided to go defend Spartan, the Spartan way of life, right? He chose them based on the strength of the women in Sparta. The ones that he was confident that if they did not return, those women would not crumble, they would not complain, they would reinforce their standards, their way of life, and keep Sparta thriving and living, right? And I believe in that in my heart. And so, you know, Mom and Kirsten, you guys are strong women, and I'm very appreciative of that. And I've taken that lesson to heart. And I have later in my life, not even on purpose, it just sort of has happened by accident, but I've found great comfort in surrounding myself by strong women, leaders, compassion, strong, integrity, you know, all those attributes. Like, you know, my friend Jess up there that I'm looking at, like, I'm just in awe of like your ability to just like spot on decision, put people on their heels, call them out on the bullshit, and then move forward, right? Like, strong woman right there, like a future leader. Diane, same thing, right? You're quiet and stoic, but you're strong, you're capable, and compassionate, and you're moving in the right direction. So to you young men out there, I strongly encourage you to sort of embrace that idea and bring strong women into your life, because it makes you a better human being, bar none. Bar none. So back to me, you know, in closing, you know, Martin Luther King once said, you know, you don't have to be a millionaire to be in service to humanity. You don't have to be famous. You don't have to be powerful. And that has struck a chord with me. You know, being in service to humanity is something that pays you back. Like, people that know me well have heard me say I don't believe in altruism. I think there's very, very few examples of altruism in the world. Because we get something back. When I help someone else, I feel love, appreciation, or gratitude, or whatever that is, you know. And so as I transition today, right, as I walk across that carpet, like, there's a new page for me. It's not a pause. This isn't some gray limbo area. It's going to allow me the ability to work harder to be a better service to humanity in any capacity that I have the energy to. That is something I've got to do and continue on in the organization as well. So I hope to inspire some of you to get out there and volunteer, work and help people, and be of service to humanity in the community. I mean, those of you in uniform are already doing that, right? But there's so much more out there than what we just do in uniform too. And then secondly, challenge yourself. You know, I was so inspired this morning. I know that probably 90% of people that showed up to that run, swim, run this morning probably really didn't want to do it. I was hoping at like 7 o'clock, they were like, sea state's too high, the wave runners aren't going to be able to get out there to support us, we're going to call this thing. But there I watched. People, lacing up their shoes, getting ready to go, getting energized, and the camaraderie I saw after the suck fest, that it really wasn't but could have been, was powerful, right? So get outside your comfort zone. We don't grow unless we get outside our comfort zone. So leaders out there, never lose sight of that. Don't take it easy on your people. When you take it easy on your people, you're not supporting them, you're not building them up for success. We have to challenge our folks and keep ourselves challenged as well. And then finally, something that I've learned over these last few years with my mentors that have helped me sort of paste my vision out there on a number of things that I'm trying to shape and build is state your dreams out loud and often, and tell as many people as will listen to you about your dreams. Because I do believe there's power in that vision. There's power in saying what you desire out loud and actually making it come to fruition. If you write it in a journal, it helps. If you keep it inside, it helps. But there's something about holding yourself accountable when I've now engaged with somebody who says, this is what I looked at doing in my life. These are the things that I want to accomplish. Here's the challenge that I've set out here for myself and my organization. Do that. And I promise you, it won't disappoint you. It won't. So, with that, that's about all the pontification I can do right now. I had a whole big stack of cards back there, but Rosa said I had to keep it short. And we are almost at an hour and 40 minutes. So, all right, Rose, what's next? Okay. See? All right. So, my gifts to my family. This one goes there. So, let's just hand these out. Can we get a couple people to help with this? No, never mind. All right. See? But now I don't know who I have right now, so let's just start with my mother. Just flowers to you, Mom. And then I'll just tell the story about the flags real quick. So, I carried this small flag. You can leave that there, but the small flag that's on the table went with me on every journey that I went on. It was given to me by my father. So, I had these flags flown over SEAL Team 2 in honor of my family. And inside is a Purple Heart. Because, again, I signed up for this. You kids didn't. And my family. And so that Purple Heart belongs to you as much as it does me. You know, when I had to go back overseas and look at the tears in my children's eyes and the reality of their father going back in harm's way, it's something that deeply affected me. So, again, I always will empower and support whatever you do, but I want you to hold on to these flags for the rest of your lives, pass them on to whoever you think is most deserving of them. But that flag symbolizes, from me, that you have served. That you serve. So be of service to mankind, but you don't necessarily have to do it in the military unless that's what you really choose. Okay? Like to have more flowers. So, sit down now. No.
Flag detail, post. Ladies and gentlemen, the members of the flag passing detail before you represent the sailors who have sacrificed, in service with Master Chief Newman during his 28 years of service. The flag that will be presented is a fitting tribute of his heritage, upbringing, and career.
Flag detail. About face.
I am the flag of the United States of America. My name is Old Glory. I fly atop the world's tallest buildings. I stand watch in America's halls of justice. I fly majestically over great institutions of higher learning. I stand guard with the greatest military power in the world. Look up and see me. I stand for peace, honor, truth, and justice. I stand for freedom. I am confident. I am arrogant. I am proud. When I am flown with my fellow banners, my head is a little higher, my colors a little truer. I bow to no one. I am recognized all over the world. I am worshipped, I am loved, and I am feared. I have fought in every battle of every war for more than 200 years. Gettysburg, Shiloh, Appomattox, San Juan Hill, the trenches of France, the Argonne Forest, Anzio, Rome, the beaches of Normandy, Guam, Okinawa, Japan, Korea, Vietnam, and the Persian Gulf, and scores of places long forgotten by all but those who were there with me. I was there. I led my soldiers, sailors, airmen, and Marines. I followed them and watched over them. They loved me. I was on a small hill of Iwo Jima. I was dirty, battle-worn, and tired, but my soldiers cheered me, and I was proud. I have been soiled, burned, torn, and trampled on the streets of countries that I have helped set free. It does not hurt, for I am invincible. I have been soiled, burned, torn, and trampled on in the streets of my own country. When it is by those whom I have served in battle with, it hurts. But I shall overcome, for I am strong. I have slipped the bounds of earth, and from my vantage point on the moon, I stand watch over the uncharted new frontiers of space. I have been a silent witness to all of America's finest hours. But when my finest hour is when I am torn in strips to be used as bandages for my wounded comrades on the field of battle. When I fly at half-mast to honor my soldiers, my sailors, my airmen, my Marines. And when I lie in the trembling arms of a grieving mother at the graveside of her fallen son or daughter, I am proud. My name is Old Glory. Long may I wait, dear God. Long may I wait.
Flag detail. About face. Pose.
Will the guests please rise for the benediction and final departure?
Well, you know, Bob, I discovered is not perfect because he forgot to mention one more family of his, the Starbucks buddies, Virginia Beach.
Totally forgot about my
But my
Starbucks family.
presence here speaks volumes about him because that's our connection. We schmoozed at Starbucks. Bob, a number of us, raise your hands, the Starbucks bunch. The women. That's the women.
They are. I'm so sorry.
And Bob, who's been interested in this, Virginia Beach rabbi for over 30 years, who was born in Kazakhstan, Russia in '45 to Polish Holocaust survivors, spent his childhood in Germany and then grew up in Haifa, Israel, and have come here to be among heroes. And I really thank you. I've spoken about all installations and empty doors by now. But this is the one installation I've not yet been able to speak it, and now I'm speaking it. But I hope to come back in April at the Holocaust commemoration. And so thank you, Bob. You are one of a kind. I'm glad to represent the Starbucks family. And that's where people bond these days, more so than in synagogues and churches and mosques. I want you to know that. So here are my words at this really awesome event, awesome event. I'm so moved whenever I'm among warriors. I just served in the Israeli military as a young kid. In the 1960s, we all served in Israel at the IDF after high school. Our one God of life's multiple blessings, whoever brings us together to be one family, diverse yet united through the divine commandments of love and kindness that Bob exemplifies. We give thanks to you today, Supreme Master of the universe. You hear that, Bob? Supreme Master of the universe. For the proud legacy of our command master, Chief Robert F. Newman III of SEAL Team 18 and also 2, and all the team members who are here and all those in uniform and in civilian clothes by now are to be honored. Remember, the number 18 in Hebrew represents life, life. Thank you, SEALs, for protecting sacred life around the world. And for Bob's beloved family with whom I've fallen in love, his daughter and son that I've watched them bond with Bob at Starbucks. Time and again, I always comment, these kids, Bob, how did you raise them to be like that? Amazing, amazing, amazing accomplishments, Bob. As Bob retires from a distinguished and exemplary service in the U.S. Navy, and indeed we are in your debt as a grateful and great nation, Bob. I've learned so much here today. I'm so glad I changed my plans for today and I'm here. Fortunate we are that in our very midst we find gentle giants of your quality, Bob. Warriors who share superior and sacrificial devotion to the noble ideals and cherished values of a leading America, the world's best and last beacon of hope in freedom's cause, in a world that is still so blemished. America is needed now more than ever before, my friends. We are deeply appreciative and moved by Bob's profound Menschlichkeit. Menschlichkeit. And if you don't know what it means, for he is a Mensch. You surely know what the word Mensch means. Exhibiting the highest personal and professional attributes that have made him beloved by one and all. And we at Starbucks especially appreciate your schmoozing capacity and beautiful outfits you wear from time to time. Supreme Master of the universe, continue to guide and guard your humble servant, Bob Newman, along with his inspiring family, as well as his family of heroic fellow SEALs who have so abundantly helped make Bob's mission so successful all these years of faithful service. May he continue to go from strength to strength, accompanied by Shalom's blessings for all humanity of healing, hope, and harmony. Let us say, Amen. God bless. Amen. God bless America.
Will the guests please be seated? Ladies and gentlemen, Master Chief Newman's fellow service members will now read the watch.
Let me stand in your seat.
For 28 years, this sailor stood the watch.
While some of us were in our bunks at night, this sailor stood the watch. While some of us were in school learning our trade, this shipmate stood the watch.
Yes, before some of us were even born into this world, this shipmate stood the watch.
In those years, when the storm clouds of war were brewing on the horizon of history, the shipmate stood the watch.
Many times, he would cast an eye ashore at his family, needing his guidance and help, needing that hand to hold during those tough times, but he still stood the watch.
He stood the watch for 28 years. He stood the watch so that we, our families, and our fellow countrymen could sleep soundly in safety each and every night, knowing that a U.S. Navy SEAL stood the watch.
Today, we are here to say, shipmate, the watch stands relieved. Relieved by those you have trained, guided, and led. Master Chief, you stand relieved. We have the watch.
Right. Thank you.
Boatswain, stand by to pipe the side. We have a shipmate going ashore for the last time.
All right, boys. Attention. Host.
With his final watch complete, and as is Navy tradition, Master Chief Newman will now request permission from the commanding officer to go ashore.
Skipper, I stand properly relieved to request permission to go ashore one last time.
SEAL Team 18 members, please stand. Master Chief, United States Navy, retired, departing. All military members, can you please stand? I ask for them. Navy family, retired, departing. Ladies and gentlemen, this now concludes the retirement ceremony. On behalf of Master Chief Newman, the Newman family, and the entire command, I would like to thank you for attending this time honored ceremony. Please join Master Chief and his family for refreshments immediately following.
Thank you.